The timeline of your life is a trail that you've been following all along. Just as an infant who from day one of its being is strengthening its muscles for that day when it will arch its head and legs off the mattress, roll over, crawl, and eventually stand. All of us have been created with similar abilities, including our created purpose. The reality is that we don't have to acquire our created purpose. We just have to embrace our becoming. The oyster created in the ocean has the ability to exemplify predetermined traits. It teaches us how to expand and transform our abilities. As such, we are able to create muscles that later on will exemplify our greatness. The oyster teaches us several things. One, that our only opponent is ourselves, and that the irritants in our lives don't define us. Right now, we need to ask some questions. What is your greatest talent? 2, what do you love to do so much that it fills your heart with joy? Number 3, where do my passion and my greatest talents intersect? By taking the time to ask those questions, you are punctuating who you are and why you are here. New York was home. It was my blue ocean. It was the foundation upon which I knew everything to be true. It was my birthplace. After being a divorcee for several years, I yearned for a compassionate and significant relationship. So after 2 years, I got remarried. Resigned from my job with a couple of years before retirement. Packed up my apartment and moved to where he was, namely Texas. You see, this was major for me because I had lived nowhere else than New York. Shortly after getting to Texas, nothing that I had envisioned married life to be was. Taking time to sit day in and day out, I questioned what had I done? Just as the oyster lives and continues to live, despite the fact that an irritant is lodged in its shell, I too had to learn to live in my now irritated condition. How do you live and remain in an irritating situation and create a problem? There are times when utilizing a global positioning system and living God's perfect script, that you're bound in a situation where exiting isn't possible. So, what do you do? Could it be that sitting in a place of neutral is the best thing that you could do? Ever got onto a road where there are no ancillary accesses? So you're stuck. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do. Could this time of being in neutral be the best thing? Could this be an opportunity where you could redefine, get to know, just sit? Some of the things that I learned during this time was maybe on the other side of my fear, self-doubt, not knowing, were the answers to many prayers that I had uttered or not uttered. Maybe this neutral was a gift. One of the things I knew about this time was that a being much higher than I had orchestrated both my marriage and my move to Texas. And although internally I was kicking and screaming, I felt at peace that I had to follow the plan. How do you leverage the detours and the rerouting in your life? Being able to gift oneself with that sense of peace and just sitting is the greatest gift that you could give yourself. Simply because there is the ability to alter your focus. Exhale. Become connected with parts of you that you may never have known before. It is almost like hitting that reset. You're given time. How many of you have gone through some emotional upheaval? You can either wink, stand, move your toe. I need to applaud you today for having done so. Because what you have done is gifted yourself. And you have gone through the fire. Having done so, I want us to collectively state our pledge. And that pledge will look like this. You will be able to reflect. And when you reflect, you will ask yourself, what are my greatest talents? You will then reorient. And in reorienting, you will ask yourself, what do I love to do so much that it fills my heart with joy? You will then refuel. And you will ask yourself, where do my passion and my greatest talent intersect? So just as the oyster, you too will be able to string several emotions together and create something that will eventually have tremendous value and also create generational legacy.